Hi, I'm Gordon Jennings with Barcoders. Many of you know me. This is the video on how to install the QLn320 onto the RFServer so you can use QLn Print, the new technology that we're releasing for our Stone Edge customers. This is a QLn320 Zebra printer that I purchased off eBay. Got a pretty good deal on it, but when you do that, you want to make sure that there's a couple things. One is you want to make sure that it does have 802.11 wireless capabilities in it, and the way that you make sure before you buy it that capability is there, and the way you confirm that is when you get it, you turn it on, let it settle the diagnostics and come up, and then you hit the menu button, and you'll be in communication mode, and then you hit OK, and you'll get a menu here, and it'll show it shows Bluetooth, and it shows 802.11, and it shows Ethernet. In this particular case, the Ethernet and the Ethernet is not installed, and the Bluetooth is not installed. That's not important, but the 802.11 Wi-Fi essentially is there, so make sure that that's there. The next thing is we have to configure the IP address of the wireless to match within the range of your network. So we're going to show you how to do that now. The next step would be on the RFServer. I have an RFServer here. You want to launch a web browser and go to www.zebra.com. In the search window up here, you want to type setup utility. And what it will do is it will bring up the Zebra setup utility, hyperlink, click on that, and then we want to download that and install that on the computer. So here's the terms, accept and download. You can save it if you have another computer you want to install it on, but in this case I'm just going to run it from the website. So we're gonna come back here in a minute when it's ready to run. All right, so it depends on your operating system, but this one happens to be Windows Business or Vista Business, so it's asking for permission to run the application. I'm going to say continue, and now it'll install the Zebra setup utility. Click next, accept the terms, next, and then go ahead and assume the defaults and just go ahead and allow it to install. It installs pretty quickly, and it's going to ask for a restart on this, so I'm going to go ahead and restart and finish. So it's going to restart the computer, and we'll be back when the computer's back up and running. Alright, so we've installed the Zebra setup utility, and we've rebooted, and we've come up. And when you click on the Zebra setup utility, it will pre-install the drivers for the printers. Then once you get the printer set up, you want to take the USB port, the USB plug, and you plug it into the side of the printer here, and then you plug the other one into the RFServer. And when you do that, the printer will turn on, and it should come up and try to install the driver for the printer. We'll see what happens here in just a second. So now the operating system is installed, that a new device is there. It installed the driver for the Z-Design QLn320, which was the drivers. When we double clicked on this, it pre-installed the drivers. And so it says it was successful, so we'll just go check. We'll come down here and go to Control Panel, and we click on Printers. And sure enough, right here there's a Zebra QLn320. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. All right, so now that we've got that installed, we launch the Zebra setup utility, and it should show up here as the Zebra printer, the Zebra Z-Designer QLn320 printer. Since it's the only one in the window, it's highlighted. What we want to do now is we want to configure the printer connectivity. So the printer is still connected via the USB port to the RF server. So what we'll do is we click on this printer connectivity, and we want to configure the wireless, the 802.11 wireless that's inside the printer. And you can't do that only via this utility, at least what I found. So we want to highlight wireless and click next. And then what we want to do is we want to give it a static IP. So check with your network people to find out what static IP works for you in your environment. In our environment here at Barcoders, it's 192.168.1.21. So that's the static IP that I decided to give to this printer. So I'm giving it, as soon as I click static, what will happen is the screen changes and it asks me for an IP address, a subnet mask, and a default gateway. So I'm going to type in 192.168. In this case it was 1.21, and then the subnet mask is 255.255.0, and then the default gateway in our case is 192.168.1.1. That's our default gateway here. So I hit next, and again, these will be dependent on your network settings, so check with your network administrator. I hit next. It asks me for the band. The default band is 802.11 A, B, G, and N. That's the one you want. So click next. Then it asks, what country are you in? It's important that you select the correct country because it sets the transmit level and the channels that it can use to be the legal ones that are of use in that country. So I'm going to scroll down here to USA, Canada, and hit next. Now it's asking for the ESSID number. You want to use Barcoders 3, which is our ESSID for our network. So that's what the scanners are using, and that's what you want the printer to use as well. So Barcoders 3, for security mode, click the down arrow and come down here, and you want to select WPA-PSK, pre-shared keys, and then WPA2/PSK. So you want to select those two, and the other stuff will be grayed out, and then you hit next. Now this is the pass key that gets you on the network, and this is the security key. We're not going to give that out here. You need to check with us if you don't already have that on what that is. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit string here. All right, now that I've keyed that in, advanced settings will come up. You don't want to do anything there. You want to hit next. And then what it shows is all of the commands that it's going to send to the printer via the USB port that we've got it plugged in. And this will configure the wireless to the settings that we just set it. So the next thing that you want to do is hit next, and it says, okay, I can send these to the printer, or we can put them in a file, and then later you can send to a file. You can name the file, and using this utility you can then later go find the file and send the file. But in this particular case, the printer, it will send directly to the printer and make the printer, it will configure the printer immediately. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. And so now it's sending to the printer, and the printer will get the information, and then it will get a screen that says restarting, and it's rebooting. So it's rebooting now, and it's now programming the Wi-Fi card to work on our network according to the configuration that we just configured it. All right, so we're going to let that reboot, and then we're going to come back here in a minute. All right, if everything worked out all right, then what will happen is you will have the bars right here showing that you're connected to the Barcoders 3 wireless access points, and the IP address that you gave it will show up right here, 192.168.1.21. And so then what I did is I went ahead and put that on the label here and put that on the side, and so I won't forget it. Now we can unplug this because we're gonna now communicate to it wirelessly. All right. So we're through here, and so as far as the USB is concerned. All right. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to close this Zebra setup utility, and we want to go to the operating system printer screen. Now you'll notice here that the Zebra Z-Designer QLn320 is now offline. What happens is if it doesn't sense it, it turns offline. So if you right click on that and click on Use Printer Online, then it will always see it as ready and you won't have any issues with it. The other thing we want to do now is we want to right click on that and we want to go into Properties. It's now set up, if you look at it, it's set up as Z-Designer QLn320. We want to change that to a shorter name. What I did was I changed it to PTR01 so that I could print a barcode and put it on the side. And that's important because now we can select a printer from the scanner. We don't have to type in Z-Designer space QLn320. We can either scan the barcode or type in PTR01 right on the scanner by selecting the printer. So I'm going to change this name to PTR01. I'm going to change that, and then the next thing you want to do is you want to go into ports, and you'll notice it's set up here to do USB. What we want to do is we want to uncheck that, and we want to add a port. And then in this case we want to do a standard TCP/IP port, and we hit new port, and we hit next. And now it wants to know the printer name or the IP address. So you type in the IP address, 192.168.1.21 in this case, and hit next. It will now go out and try to detect that particular port. I'm going to make sure that the printer's turned on. Printer's now turned on. It times out to save battery, so I'm going to turn it back on just to make sure it's turned on. So after a minute, this thing will time out because it's not able to detect that. All right, so now that it times out, it will stop at this screen that says the device could not be identified. Is it a standard port or you want to do a custom configuration? In this case, we want to just select standard and go ahead and hit next. And then it will show a summary of what it's going to set up, and you go ahead and hit finish, right? And then close this. And now for this particular printer, we want to check that standard TCP/IP port. We want to check that port. All right. So then we want to go back to general. And now that we've done that, what we want to do is we want to close this out. And then it should be on ready, the PTR1. Now we're going to right click on it again, go back into Properties, and click Print Test Page. And if everything's working correctly, you'll get a Windows test page with it says Microsoft Windows with the logo there. And so now we've checked it out and everything's working right, and that printer now should be configured on the RFServer. Okay, now you recall that I changed the name of this to PTR01. The reason we do that is so that you can make a small barcode and put on the side here. If you're going to set up more than one printer, you're going to want to do this and make one called PTR01, PTR02, PTR03, and so on and so forth. And then you'll create little barcodes that go on the side here, and you can stick those on the side, and then check with the operation of the QLn Print program that we sent you earlier, and it shows you how to change printers by just typing in CP and scanning the barcode of the printer.